Good afternoon. So first of all, I would like to really congratulate the organizers for two reasons. One is talking the India story to the world. That's very important for us, and that's a great opportunity here. Number two, it's like coming together, it's a reunion. I find a lot of our friends and fraternities in this industry today to meet in this platform. So congratulations to the media today especially for organizing this, and it's a great time to really spend around. So today I will talk about an area which is quite interesting. Lots have been talked about in the morning about India's story in terms of reaching 60 million metric tons from a food security nation. But today, when you look at parallelly, there's been something which has happened in the recent times. It talks about quality. The focus has been moving towards processing grade potatoes and also global markets. Parallelly, if you look at, there is something interesting which is happening in India that's on the digital revolution. India is known for the digital hub, IT hub, and a lot of investments have made in this industry, especially around 7,400 crores have been spent last year only on digitization in agriculture. And if you look at, in next 10 years, you will find close to around 54,000 crores will be spent on this area, which clearly says that there's an opportunity to grow at 10%, which also tells us very clearly farmers are embracing new technologies. And especially in the agri-tech world, especially the agri-startups, today you can number close to around 3,000 such agri-startups have been in this industry, and a lot of investments are happening in the potato industry. And you can go around each and every company-wise, there's a lot of initiatives on the digital front has been happening. So clearly it says one thing very clear. I think the next era of development in potato industry will be not led by intuition. It will be led by intelligence based on database decisions. So I will talk about this particular area. How do we really empower farmers, boosting productivity, precision, which can lead to predictability, which is very tough, and of course, profitability. When I talk about technology, we all know why it is very critical. Today, when we are talking about processing industry, this is one of the most challenging areas. It is a high-risk industry. Farmers have to invest close to 70 to 75,000 bucks per acre. It's a high investment, and it's a high risk. This is an industry which is highly sensitive because of market dynamics and vagaries of monsoon. Also, look at the profitability of a farmer is getting challenged because the consumer is also trying to challenge the processor, in turn challenging the farmers as well. So every stage of the crop is time critical. And we are facing this every year and year on. During planting time or even during harvesting time or even bulking time, we see a lot of challenges with reference to this particular crop, which is really, really undergoing turbulence. And if you look at one of the critical area we all need to focus upon is on the cost of cultivation. I think this is very, very critical for us to really stay focused on helping farmers to minimize or reduce the cost of cultivation, not to spend on unnecessary fertilizers, not to over-irrigate the crop, not to put in more of pesticides. I think this is one area each and every company has to focus upon. And clearly we all know climate instability makes traditional intuition highly insufficient. Gone are those days with experience and expertise, we can still continue with the same kind of practices. Today, farmer needs data-based decisions. Each and every stage of the crop, he needs data to take a right decision, whether it is planting time or to irrigate or to fertigate. And of course, lots have been talked about loss. If you look at on loss, I think one of the biggest area, if you look at close to around 15% storage losses or overall losses if you take, it will be surprising to us, we actually lose around 10 million metric tons of potatoes. I think this is one area where we need to really, really focus upon how do we address this particular challenge. Of course, profitability is not only linked on yield, it is the quality which matters. When you look at digitization across the value chain, there's a lot of examples. What I'll do, I will walk you through certain areas, what have been done, what can be done in the near future as well. And of course, there are enough tools, there are enough opportunities for us to really digitize, to really automate it going forward. If you look at digitization, I think the most critical pace is to focus on smart seed production program. I think it is time to really focus on seed certification if you want to really be a global player. I think that's one of the most critical area. Second thing, we also have to get into sharing seed testing reports with farmers. The farmer should get the news, what exactly the seed has, what is the kind of quality status, what is the grading. So he needs to know what exactly he's getting it. I think that's the transparency we need to build in. And then the most important thing, we need to get in QR coding. We should be able to track and trace. The farmer should be in a position to track and trace where exactly, what lots, how it is performing. So those are the areas which I see clearly we have to focus on digitizing on the seed multiplication area. I think this is one of my favorite area which I would like to talk hours and hours. I think before growing potatoes, we need to focus our energies on soil health. I think that's the foundation of our business. I think we need to join hands to really communicate to farmers on benefits of soil health. This is one area the whole game can be changed. If you look at the current situation today, our soils are more alkaline, more neutral, but we need areas where it be acidic in nature. Our organic content is quite low. So we need to focus on soil health and we need to digitize. Today there are tools available where a farmer can really digitize instantaneously within few minutes. This will help the farmer to take the right decision so that across the crop calendar he can try to plan and execute his fertigation program accordingly. Also, it's very critical. We have to look at from a consumer point of view. Because today's consumer is expecting what's the residue effect on the soil? What kind of greener chemistries you are using for? I think this is very, very critical. We'll have to look at from a consumer point of view, really focusing on soil health, and this decides the fate of harvest. And if you look at going forward in the next couple of years, you will find a lot of mechanization in terms of robotics will come in play. Lots have been talked about labor availability, skilled labor availability. I think the answer to this going forward will be more robotics, which is affordable in nature for a smallholder farmer. It can be either in robotic machine on tillage, it could be on planters. I think this is very, very crucial because precision planting is the key for us. If you look at the yield gaps between Europe or US, we can try to narrow down if you really start the first step in terms of planting density. I think that's the first step we need to really look at it. And of course, robotic spraying. Today we talk about drone sprays, robotic sprays. I think these will help in a way it is much more safer for the farmer, much more safer for the human labor who is really working on it. I think these are areas we need to be extremely careful when we are talking about regenerative agriculture practices or sustainability. And this is another interesting area on roguing. I think this is one of the biggest challenges in seed production areas where we really find skilled labor and timely availability of skilled labor is a real challenge. I think going forward, we will have technologies around, and it is already there in several parts of the world. And we can see that in the near future in India, we can really spot the virus-impacted plants or mixing, varietal mixing. We'll be able to really work on this. I think this can be handled by a normal farmer family. So a time will come in where, like the way we have cows or cattle for every house, which is very important for manuring the farms, I think going forward, every family will have a robo going forward. And this is going to happen in next future. And you can see that going forward in this particular area, and especially from planting till roguing till harvesting. This is another area which we can really look at. There are machines which are ready now to really look at from a robotics point of view. And of course, this can be done 24/7. You can make use of it for 20 hours of harvest. I'll just also talk about certain interesting experiences which we have been experiencing in HyFarm, especially in Gujarat state. When we look at irrigation and nutrition, these two are very critical in really making a great impact in our quality. And what we can do when we're talking about smallholder farmers, it's also important for every processing company to really invest time as to how do you make these digital tools really scalable and affordable for the farmers. And I would like to share a simple example which is now going on in Gujarat. If you look at Gujarat, we can take, for example, a state, a region, Banaskata. Within Banaskata, we can look at micro clusters, We have classified somewhere around 17 micro pockets because each and every village or every pocket is totally different in terms of soil pattern, in terms of behavioral pattern of the farmers, and the agronomic practices. So what we have done is, it is more important for us to really focus on micro environments and then give the right recommendation. And can we do it with a scale? So we have embarked upon setting up weather stations across areas. And you can see that a particular weather station can cover somewhere close to around 2 kilometers. And of course, the objective here is very clear, to focus on weather alerts, which is very critical for us, disease alerts, especially in case of blight, and of course, soil moisture to do the right fertigation and the right time to really irrigate the crop. So what we have done is, we have gone ahead installing these weather stations across, close to around 450 such. And today, we are able to get and provide disease alerts to farmers and the right recommendation of agronomic practices through their own weather patterns. For example, we had tied up with a company called Philo, where in their cloud system, we have our own app called Farmoji. So when we integrate that, 400 plots of database is good enough to communicate to 6,000 farmers. So the data-based decision is easy for a farmer to take a call on when to irrigate, how to irrigate, and how to fertilize. If you look at, in last year experience, we have seen farmers, the usage of water, especially irrigation, despite having drip irrigation, the quantum of water usage has reduced by 25 to 30%. That's a great saving indeed. And look at the fertilizer use. It has come down to 12 to 15%. And overall, the cost of cultivation has come down by 10%. So it's just a simple decision to know the soil moisture, to have the right dose of fertilizer, and when to irrigate. And at an individual farmer level, there are technologies. We can really look at technologies which can help the farmers. Today, farmers are using mobile apps. Very clearly, it states red, yellow, and green. When to irrigate? Do I really need to irrigate? We were wondering when we saw that farmers a couple of years back, they used to irrigate drip every day. There's no need for irrigating it every day. What happens, the more you irrigate, the more you actually leach fertilizers down the water table. And it is not actually helping the crop. It is actually destroying the ecosystem. So another interesting area is about predicting yields in terms of scanning what is the yield. We had the opportunity to work with the Harvest-i, one of the UK-based company. What we have done is, it's an instant kind of a computer vision-based system, IoT device, wherein we were able to evaluate grade, size, shape, and weight, which helped the farmer to get to know instantaneously what has been his performance. He will get to know what is his premium you are getting it on the spot. So this really helps a farmer which cold store. A processor can decide which cold store to really look at it. And also within the cold store, within the chambers, we can also floor plans which can really suit in terms of grades. What grades we need to keep at what levels. Whether it is standard grade or premium grade, or you are talking about undersize for different purposes. So if you look at, these are the purposes which we have as a processor, for what purpose, which grade has to be maintained. And imagine having 400 to 500 such chambers across India, and the data flow has to be meticulous, which will help the processor to really come up and plan his line production going forward. And this is exactly what happens over the year. If you look at from short term to long term, we find this particular area where we are able to focus and deliver the right requirement for the right portfolio of products. So clearly what I want to communicate here is that I think the more the detail we can have, more data points we have, I think traceability, transparency, and value capture for the farmer is really very crucial. I'll also walk you through some of the experiences which we have in one of our app called Farmoji. I think the time has come where we need to have a three-layered approach. We need to have instrumentation where we need to put up all the instruments across to really garner or get data, or also kind of an automation layer where many of the alerts can go automatically, and also intelligence layer, which can really help in crop advisory. So if you look at today, what we try to envisage is that it's not one particular technology for one particular cause. It is more important to have a multi-stacked layers of technologies so that a farmer can have all the decision in his mobile, in his hand. It's not bits and pieces which is critical. We need to really look at what all, what all technologies are there, how do you really integrate that and infuse that so that the decision-making ability of a farmer really is improved. And if you look at here today when we talk about, even if you look at today, when you're talking about contract farming, today farmers are able to e-sign their agreements. That's a positive change you see. Farmers are able to place their orders, the seed orders in advance. They're able to get to know where is their dispatch, when is it happening. They are able to track what happened to their produce. They can get to know what will be their yields. They will also get to know when to irrigate and what fertilizer doses to apply. And also today's industry, if you look at in today's technology, when we have multiple experts across the globe, we have a great opportunity to connect them with the farmers just by using AI. They can start talking the local language. So that's a benefit we can try to really make it. So clearly what I would like to mention is that technologies can make a huge change because today in a certain world, I think predictability is something which we need to really do using database decisions. Delivering quality and consistency is the key, and technology can do that. Of course, preventing losses, which I talked about, and of course, this will help farmers to really garner profitability, and it's a future-proofing against climate, market, and quality risk. So what I would like to conclude is that tech-enabled farming is no longer optional. It is the operating system of the future, and the farmer gets really graduated when he really embraces new technologies. Thank you so much.